global clean energy investments is booming. Australia, assuming we pass the renewable energy target, will start to play its part in driving clean energy investments globally. But we'll still miss our emission targets. That's the key findings of some research that was commissioned by the Climate Institute and Westpac today. The Climate Institute and Westpac commissioned Bloomberg New Energy Finance to assess global trends in clean energy: wind, solar, biomass, hydro, geothermal power systems. To put Australia in that context, but also to look at what would actually happen if Australia massively upscaled its investment in renewable energy and what that would mean for us meeting our international commitments. The report had made three main findings. One is that the meta trends in global clean energy investments are continuing. 2010 is expected to be another record year in clean energy investment globally. Interestingly, what we're also seeing at a global level is China overtaking the United States as a major centre of clean energy investment. We're also seeing Europe losing its pole position to countries like India and China as they try and cement themselves as clean energy superpowers of this century. The other finding is that Australia's investment in the renewable energy sector has been relatively subdued compared to other countries. We only account for 0.8% of global investment in clean energy. That compares to about 1.5% of global emissions, or about 1.3% of global economic activity. However, that appears to be starting to pick up with the introduction of the renewable energy target into the Senate, and assuming that piece of legislation is ultimately passed, the report shows we'll see about $20 billion of new investment in clean energy over the next 10 years. That will create thousands of jobs, and the report also shows it will reduce emissions in the power sector by around 190 million tonnes to 2020. That's the equivalent of taking all the cars off the road in Australia for 3 years. However, the report does warn that while the renewable energy target is critical to transforming the power sector, beginning to start emission reductions in that industry, building up those industries, building up the industries and the jobs that are going to be needed to keep us competitive in a low carbon world, by itself it is insufficient to get us to meet the 5 to 25% emission targets we've committed internationally. In fact, there's a major gap in the order of 190 million tonnes, growing to about 270 million tonnes for the larger target, if we just implement the renewable energy target. And Bloomberg New Energy Finance highlight that if we are going to meet our international commitments, if we are going to play our part in becoming a low carbon, highly competitive, clean energy economy, then we're going to need policies like a price on carbon to create incentives for companies to invest in other forms of low emission technology, whether they be gas-fired power stations, energy efficiency, smart grids, and low emission vehicles, at the same time as driving investments through the renewable energy sector. Only if we drive a change across the entire economy will Australia have a chance of living up to our international commitments.